Welcome to Comic Cave, the podcast where art and imagination collide. I'm your host, DnDWife, and joining me every episode is Couple Nerd's very own master artist, Entlynk.
Each week, we dive into the creative process behind incredible art, from comics and character designs to the vibrant world of Extraeus and beyond.
Whether you're an artist, an art lover, or just here for the good vibes, there's a seat for you at the cave. So let's create something magical. And today, our second episode of our video Comic Cave series, we're looking at J101, who is a fantastic local artist we found at one of the conventions we go to here. And you've even seen their booth as well because you've joined us on some of these trips. So it's been really cool. And I wanted to showcase their artwork because at this point, we've bought at least 4 pieces from them. We plan on buying more from Jay, and I just think she does a great job. So I kind of just wanted to show what she does. She's just kind of a media painter. Did you get any first impressions when we saw the booth?
I mean, it was really cool to see something more traditional. You see a lot of prints, which are fantastic.
Yep.
Sometimes you get originals, but I believe her booth was all original canvas art, right?
Yeah, and all obviously painted by hand. So she's doing all this on her own. I think she has a small team of people who help her out with lugging things around and setting up her booths, but she's obviously the main creative force behind here. Like you said, hand painting these canvases so that they are ready for purchase by us, and they look fantastic, frankly. Let's take a look at a couple of the ones that we've seen from her. We have actually seen her at SAC Anime. I know she does a couple of the other local conventions around here, and you can find all of her work obviously on her DeviantArt J101, her Etsy shop as well under J Edwards 101, and then she has a Tumblr for J Edwards 101 too. And an X for J Edwards, J_Edwards 101, if you want to go ahead and check her out, see what her artwork looks like. It's fantastic. It's got her own unique spin, and I think it's great. And some of the first pieces that we got, myself and my husband here for our home, for display in our home, is the 2 starter Pokemon for Sprigatito and Fuecoco. And I just think they look so cute. What about you?
They do. They look so nice and bold. They really pop out on the wall.
Oh yeah.
What first attracted you guys to her booth? What year was this, would you say, the first pieces you got from her?
Oh my, I think it was 2 years ago or so where DM Miguel first took me to my first ever convention, and that's where we saw her booth. And these were some of the first ones. We had just started playing a Pokemon game. I forget which one. I think you mentioned Sun and Moon.
I think it was Sun and Moon, because I was also a Sprigatito starter.
Yeah, because he's so cute. You can't say no to the kitty, right? So definitely Sprigatito was my starter, and Fuecoco was DM Egile's first starter. And so when we saw these just literally side by side on the table, we knew we had to get them. They looked so adorable, and we thought that they would just pop on the walls. So we definitely bought them with the intention of displaying them in our home. And I just really like that. Plus they represent I think 2 sides of DM Egile and myself.
I like they're 2 very different Pokemon, and also different color schemes, but I feel just the boldness of the backgrounds really help to tie it together. They really do look like a handsome pair.
Right. And you would think with just having a 1 color background that it would be oh, it looks unfinished or something, but no, it really lends it that pop art look that you're really looking forward to if you want to display that in your home. So I just think it works really well. And then we've also captured a few other pieces of art from Jay, one of which is featured on the wall behind me. I don't know if you can see, but we have purchased a pop-out canvas, which is a brand new type of canvas for us, of Hazbin Hotel characters, one of which is Alastor, and the other one is Sir Pentious in his ascended winter form. And so we just loved the look of these canvases, the fact that they are pop-out canvases, which are canvases that come out at you a little bit. And so for Alastor, it really makes sense because it looks like a demon is coming out at you from the canvas. I love it. And for Sir Pentious, it just elevates it. It looks super classy, I think, the type of canvas. So what do you think about these pieces?
I think they are very striking because you don't see the pop-out canvas very often at all. And again, like they're two very different pieces, but they're so clean. And I think the bold colors she uses to such great effect.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I do want to ask, I'm sure because if I remember right, that sake anime that we went to for this year, it was like kind of Hazbin Hotel themed in a way because there was so much talent that was appearing.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Did she have any other, like, when you go to see her booth, does she have any like kind of themes, or is it kind of reflective of what's going on at the convention?
Yeah, I think it's very reflective of what's popular at the time. So for the last couple of booths, we got the Alastor first in one of the earlier conventions, and then we got Sir Pentious afterwards because Hazbin Hotel has been really popular in the last couple seasons, and so that's why we were able to, I think, grab those particular pieces.
That's really cool. Yeah. So it wasn't at the same time like the Sprigatito and the Fuecoco.
Yeah, actually, we bought them completely separately, and I just think it's gaining in popularity. So obviously, people continue to want to purchase items that are in that theme. A lot of their voice actors have been coming to the conventions to speak, to sign autographs, and so I think it's just been in keeping with the popular media at the time. And she does a fantastic job.
Oh, for sure. Like the pieces look so clean, like especially for this sounds so terrible to say, but like especially for traditional art, just because sometimes when you're covering up things or trying to tidy things up, it can accumulate, but you can tell that her hand has to be so steady, like
super steady.
The Sprigatito and Fuecoco pieces were also very clean, but she's just improved so much with these as well, especially considering like the different angles when working on the pop-out canvas.
Oh yeah,
I think she's just super good at it.
Right, because you always run into that trouble when working on a canvas that has different dimensions to it, or like you said, a pop-out canvas that comes out at you. You have to paint the edges, and sometimes running those lines back in a way that makes it look like a natural occurrence doesn't always work out for an artist, right? So I think she has done a great job here of folding the art back onto the canvas to make it look like one cohesive piece. It really does look like Alastor's kind of coming out at us, and Sir Pentious to an extent as well, like he's smiling out, popping out at you, which is really cute. And I've got to say, you were right, the line work on this is super steady. So are the brush strokes. Like you said, a lot of the times the trouble, even with acrylic paints that tend to be pretty smooth, it is that clumping, especially if you let it dry too much before you try to correct it. You can paint over it, just like when you're painting your nails and you keep painting over and over in it, you might get some clumping, if you're not careful.
It just happens. But I agree, like the amount of depth you get with the pop-out canvas, but also like as clean as her line work is, there also is like unlined parts of the color, like especially featured in Sir Pentious's portrait. Like the pattern in his hood, it doesn't like distract at all. Like it's still equally as bright and vibrant. But it still kind of fades into the background as it's supposed to. It's super effective. It's really pretty to look at.
I actually think the lack of lines adds a little bit of dimension here. Like you said, especially in the hood of Sir Pentious, it makes it look like you can reach back into there because there are no harsh lines kind of drawing that flatness to your 100%. Attention.
100%.
And I just think I love these two characters. I think there's a reason why we picked them for display in our home. This Fuecoco and Sprigatito are in display out in our living room. So they're great for our media wall, which is covered in different pieces of art from different movies, video games, TV shows that we love. So they're all arranged there, and it's a really nice conversation piece that we can have in the home when people come in, because it's bright. It calls your attention. And then I have Sir Pentious and Alastor here in our office because I just love looking at it. It's part of my little art nook area, and it's just so unique and beautiful to see. I might rotate them. I might put them out there. That way people can look at them because they are such unique pieces. I definitely love it.
I totally agree. They're very versatile on their own. I think the pop art style is very bold, and I guess that I feel like that can like fit in so many different ways with so many different styles. It can just kind of cohesively blend in there, because I know in a sort of way you've almost got like a gallery wall going on here in the studio.
Yeah,
and it looks cool. All the different like depths and textures and things. Like, I think it really works together.
Yeah, and then we really love displaying two different styles of art. So from realism to impressionism to this pop art that we're getting to, I think it all kind of brings the little theme of our nerdiness together.
Yeah,
and that's what we're going for, right? We're going for like the nerdy chic look. A lot of the times we get this idea that nerdy decoration tends to be very cringe, or it's just kind of plastered everywhere, so that you can't tell where it ends at where it begins, and so people tend to look down upon nerdy decoration. And my husband and I have really tried to kind of bring nerdy decoration into our home in a way that elevates it, that makes it look adult, because we are adults. We like being adults. We don't want to be children forever. And so I think that showcasing artwork in this way is a really nice grown-up way to still call back to your passions, to even your childhood passions, like the Pokémon paintings that we have, right? I love those. I'm never gonna not lose that, or I'm never gonna lose that nostalgia for the games, for the characters, for the TV show. And same thing with Hazbin Hotel. I love it, and I want to show that. And so this is, I think, a great way to do that when while not being cringe, while not feeding into that stereotype.
Yeah, I think
right?
you do. So I think you guys really successfully, because my man and I also like to decorate our home with whatever we like, you know? And so for us, it's a mix of kind of like weird oddities and antiques, but also the nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
I think just putting your own personal spin on things, which you guys have really successfully done with like the fantasy and D&D stuff, like everything meshes together because it's genuinely you guys.
Yeah.
You know, it's what you think is nice.
That's the biggest thing about this day and age, I think, is people appreciate the authenticity of decorating your home in a way that represents you. Because, like, for at least for DME, Gail and I, our home is our sanctuary. It's where we come to decompress from the craziness of the world. And so we want it to be a nice place where we can hang out, where we can relax. And when we look at the walls, we can be like, oh, I remember that. And look at fond memories, you know?
It should make you happy.
Absolutely.
I think that's what's really cool about this connection you've made with J101, just because they're a local artist and you see them on the regular, because we've kind of made a tradition to go to Sec Anime. It's cool to see them like learn and grow, and you've got a growing collection as well.
I do, and I plan to keep it growing. My husband also plans to keep it growing. We just love the artwork. I feel kind of like one of those old-timey patrons, you know, not like I'm rich or anything, but it really gives you that feeling like you're supporting an artist, you're helping them grow, and you're kind of helping them, because I've seen the progression, right? We can see the Sprigatito and the Fuecoco are very simple, and they look really nice. But when you look at Alastor and Sir Pentious, you can see how much J101 has improved. And it is night and day how gorgeous these paintings look, how much better they've gotten over time. And I just can't wait to see what more she does. So I think that's the good side of being a patron of an artist.
Especially since as well, like she took a risk with the pop out 3D canvases, and that caught your eye. So I wonder what, you know, maybe you can expect in the years to come, like how she'll experiment and elevate her art.
Yeah, we even had a conversation with her about these pop-out canvases. The last time when we bought Sir Pentious, she had talked about how they're actually pretty expensive because they're so unique. And unfortunately, she got them on sale, so it's not like she could go out and grab, you know, whenever she felt like it, grab a bunch of these. So she really had to be on the lookout for sales for all these unique different canvases. But I think that's really cool because it makes them like limited edition almost, right?
That's almost even better. Like if she wanted to, like she could maybe even find an angle to market like, oh, this is a one of however many, because it was a limited batch. You can then be like, oh, this is a signed number of limited. Like that's really cool to have.
Absolutely. I think she's definitely going to go a long way. I love seeing her growth and progression. It's just going to get better. And I'm hoping that we get to do another comic cave and show more of the pieces that we've gotten from her.
Absolutely.
For these pieces, I love the modern pop aspect of them. As an art person, I don't know. Growing up, I never really saw myself as a pop art like appreciator. And I was mostly into realism, the old styles, impressionist painters, and the classical artists. But finding J101 has really inspired a passion for like the more modern side of art for me. I really like this modern pop art style. It's very, if you don't know what that is, it's very reminiscent of people. Who's that famous guy? Who does pop art? I had him in my head. Dang it.
Campbell's Soup guy?
Yeah, Campbell's Soup guy.
Warhol?
Thank you, Andy Warhol. How could we forget? He's famous. But he's the most famous pop artist around. And so there's just so much that you can do with bold colors, bold lines, and adapting that to a nerdy theme, I think really works well with anime, with animation, different cartoons. I think it just really works well.
And I think that she like is true to that style while also really doing a great job at like being true to the characters. Like they still look like they're in like the Vivziepop style. Oh yeah. But still J101 style. And it's the same for the Pokemon print or Pokemon pieces where it's them and they're truly captured, but I don't know, she puts her own spin on it and it's so effective.
Yeah.
So I think
it's the little details.
Yeah, it's the little things, right? Like even the characteristics and like the differences in the eyes, like she pays attention.
Oh yeah, because the Sprigatito's got those cute little like glassy like little shine on the eyes. Fuecoco's got very blocky circular eyes with just like a little bit of shine that's more cartoon reminiscent. And then when we look here at Sir Pentious and Alastor, Alastor's got these really cool details where like there's little touches of green everywhere, whether it's in his eyes to showcase like the demonic power, or it's sometimes along the stitching on his mouth. And then Jay, of course, signs in that green too to just make it pop out even more, which I just really love. And the little details in Sir Pentious, she does her own, like you said, the lack of lines on some of these features really enhances the depth of the painting. And also, I think she juxtaposes really well the look of the characters with an opposing color. So Alastor is in red, which is a very warm color. That's the majority of his coloring. So she did a very cool purple background to juxtapose that color so that it wasn't too overwhelming, so there wasn't two warm colors kind of jumping out at you. And that contrast, I think, really helps. Same thing with Sir Pentious. He's got that warm yellow coloring with a very bright blue background. That's also fitting of his acceptance into the winner category.
I do love that point just because it calls it to attention her understanding of color, which that's so daunting.
Right,
but like,
for an artist, it's tough.
To be able to do such bold colors effectively, and especially the red and purple. I love a red and purple combination, but it's so difficult to pull off sometimes.
Super tough, absolutely.
Like you said about the differences in temperature, but yeah, she does it really, really well.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, it's really tough, too, to do portraiture character work. Making sure the proportions look accurate to what you want them to look is really difficult. You specifically as an artist who does comics with a lot of character work, how tough is that to achieve when doing artwork like this?
It can be a lot for sure. Like especially if you're taking into like different like dynamic shots or like different like more extreme perspectives. Like it all compounds on itself for sure.
But, you know, as you go on, as you gain more practice, you start getting better at it. And even I've started learning that. I'm trying to work on my emotes for DnDWife on Twitch. And it all helps, you know, the practice that you gain in doing it little by little, you start seeing improvement.
Yeah, I think you just really have to like start somewhere. And, you know, obviously the now can feel however, but like if you stick at it and then you see like you can look back on like a year or two's worth of work and it just stick to that and you'll see it and it'll click for you, you know?
And, you know, keep pictures or some sort of record of your artwork and definitely look back at what you've done because that shows you the progression of your work.
Oh, for sure. There's so many, I'm not sure about you, but I've had so many sketchbooks like from high school or earlier, or like I was always drawing in the margins of my notes at school.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And
I've done that.
a lot of that stuff is just lost. And I wish that I obviously like, I don't want to hoard or anything,
Right.
but like,
Or it's sitting in a dusty box somewhere
Yeah.
in a attic or closet.
but it would be so cool to look back on like, literal decades worth of doodles.
We might do that for one of the other comic caves. We might dig up some of our old artwork and see if we can't showcase it. Hey,
I'm so down.
It's a little embarrassing. Sometimes it can be a little cringe for us nerds who grew up young, but
I think that's what it's about, is
that's
like,
how we show how we grew.
yeah, for sure. Oh my God.
We're definitely gonna have to try that. Absolutely. I'm excited.
I'm very excited for this idea.
Absolutely.
Time to go snooping for all of that old stuff.
Oh man.
All the old lore.
Yep. Gotta go digging. But I also wanted to talk about something that really jumps out at me from Jay specifically is the use of these pop-out canvases, and specifically the use of unique canvases to elevate art. Because some artists believe that the canvas really has nothing to do with the art besides holding it, right? It's just meant to showcase the art. It's not part of it. It's not the important bit. The important bit is the paint itself on the canvas. Whereas I think that unique canvases can really help evoke different emotions, different themes that you want, right? Like circular or oval canvases can make you think like you're looking out of a window or a porthole.
Totally.
And really sell that for you.
I would agree, only like, even on the basis of it challenges you to approach it differently. Like, just inherently, if it's a different shape, you're going to approach the planning and the composition of the piece entirely differently than if it was just rectangular.
Yeah. And I think it also gives us a little bit of surprise. It calls the eye because it's not something uniform. It's out of the ordinary. It pops out at you. And in fact, I think they go along, unique canvases go a long way to kind of starting up conversation. And it's not just circular canvases. There are hexagonal canvases that I think look really cool.
I've even seen people can make their custom canvases, which is cool.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen like, really weird ones like crescent moon canvases, especially for people who do what's that called, the like paint bucket art where they just kind of pool it and spill it into different bubbles.
Art or
anything like experimental and abstract like that. I feel like a different color different shape canvas can do so much for that.
Absolutely. I think it's art pouring. I think is what it's called.
I don't know, so something too. Like that. Acrylic pour.
There you go.
Yeah.
But exactly, right? You can get so many different things based off of the shape of the canvas. And I think Jay's use of not just pop-out canvases, but also different sizes. She does these really tiny square ones with little different characters on them for media that I think are just so cute.
That's awesome. I feel like that also calls back to, like, we had mentioned gallery walls before. And I think that, like, those are super in right now. I think maybe
very much so.
But like,
we're gonna set a trend.
Totally. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
But like, I think the different shapes, it elevates the puzzle that is a gallery wall. So it just makes things a little more interesting.
And if you have a bunch of little ones, you can organize them any which way.
Oh my God. You could even make like a block, like blocks within a block. So you can, like, where you would normally put a larger canvas, there's 4 of them instead.
Right?
That's cute.
Or they could be desk buddies. Like, there's a bunch of different uses for the tiny canvases. And I just think that's just really cool. You can have all sorts of different types and showcase art in different ways, in different locations that you normally wouldn't see art or normally wouldn't think that art would fit in that place. So I think, canvases, especially unique canvases, can definitely elevate art. Let me know if you think differently, if you think canvases have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, hot takes in the comments.
Let us know. But I just want to give off some final thoughts on this. I think Jay's use of modern pop art to sell these canvases, to sell her artwork, really goes a long way to kind of elevating nerdy decoration into adult themes, to where we don't feel like children decorating our bedrooms. We are adults decorating our home with our passions and our loves, and it doesn't look kitschy. It doesn't look cringe. We do good work. We do a lot of work to make these look good, and I think J101 does too. So those are my final thoughts on it. I appreciate looking into new opportunities for artwork. It might pop out at you when you didn't expect it.
Totally.
What about you?
I think my takeaway is that I'm honestly just so happy to see a traditional artist putting out, you know, canvas, like actual canvas works.
So rare nowadays.
One of a kind stuff. Like, she could totally make prints. But I think that the dedication that she shows and just it stands out so much among the artist alley. Like, it's always growing. Like, I think
so many more people around her booth every time.
You guys have been since they've like expanded their space, but we haven't yet. But I think that that's so cool that just, I don't know, it was already so big before, and she still stood out to me just because of, you know, the work that she's doing, you know?
Yeah, it's not a booth that you can easily just walk past and not stop and at least see what's going on.
No, I definitely commend her just really, like, kind of putting her foot in that market. Like, that's her little square. And
and in this day and age, it's becoming a lot tougher to be a traditional artist, but I also think there's a unique opportunity in being a traditional artist, because in this day and age of automation where everything is a print, even when it is on a canvas, I've seen prints just being superimposed on canvases to make it look like artwork. In these days where automation really is everywhere, these small time handmade pieces actually stand out as more unique, and frankly in the end I think they'll be more sought after. People will want to go after more bespoke items because they're made by hand by somebody who didn't, you know, make it with a machine. They stood there and they painted for, I don't know, 8 hours trying to get this canvas together, right?
Yeah, it gives a different feeling, and it's really nice to see that again, because I grew up in, you know, small time cons where it was a lot of, like, you know, everything was just on paper, like legit hand
sketches,
everything.
A lot of it was what coloring pencil and things like that.
Even like the like pins, it was the little bubble pins that you would stamp in a machine yourself. Like,
you had to create the artwork. You couldn't just grab it off of a machine or a computer.
But I think that stuff is like almost becoming more wholesome in a way. So there's where maybe you could argue before things were oversaturated, it's like doing the inverse. And I don't know, I just think it's so cool that J101 is like kneeling that market, basically.
Pretty much
cornering. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, we got there.
I'm grasping, and I finally found it.
we did
it, guys.
But yeah, I really like that, and I think she's got a really good opportunity here to just keep growing, keep getting more work as an artist, and I hope she goes a long way. I hope she's really successful, because I want more of her artwork.
Really excited to see her at the next convention as well, because we're down for, I think it's summer. What month is it happening? September?
It's August. I think it's late August. It's happening. Yeah, right at the end of August. So
nice.
That'll be really fun. I'm super excited. It's going to be great. And then we'll probably definitely share what we got from there. But thank you so much for joining us today. That was really awesome. And I just want to call out to any artists out there who might want to have their art showcased here on Comic Cave. Please reach out to us. Let us know in the comments. DM us. You can also join our Couple of Nerds Discord and DM us there. That way we can get a more direct line to you. Just submit maybe 4 or 5 different pieces of art that you'd like to have showcased. We'll make sure you get, you know, all the recognition on the YouTube and all the posts that we do. And we just really want to see what artists are out there, who's growing out there, and what you're doing. It would be amazing. So yeah, let us know.
Yep. Join the Discord for sure, and share your art. We're looking forward to seeing it. But that's it for this episode of Comic Cave. Thanks for hanging out with us and diving deep into the world of art and storytelling.
Make sure you follow, like, and review the podcast. And don't forget to join us on the Couple of Nerds Discord to see the art, share your work, and connect with other creatives. Until next time, keep drawing, keep dreaming, and keep being nerdy.